Hey everyone, once again, it is Jessica Crenshaw, the Memphis Poet, coming to you live. We appreciate you guys for just blowing up this show. It is only our fourth show, and we have already hit Nepal, we've hit India, we've got love coming out of Scotland. So we really appreciate you getting behind our heart hustle, our God, and our grind, and just blowing us up. But once again, it's another episode of Poetry Worldwide. We are coming to you live, local and loco. So we are highlighting Memphis poets this go around. We have a really, really special guest here on the show. We just want to do some shout outs first. We want to say thank you to WYTV7 Network for believing in the goal, believing in the dream that poets have a voice and we will be heard. Now we're trying to get our numbers up, so please, if you see us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also Spreaker, listen and follow. So all you got to do on any of your social media addresses is just type in Poetry Worldwide. It'll pull right up and follow us. And also tell poets, hip hop artists that we want to interview them. We're going to be shutting down probably in about May or June, and then we're going to be cruising for poets, hip hop artists to be on this show. Do not sleep on this show because you never know who's going to be watching. So that's just our little tidbit there. But without further ado, I want to introduce my brother in poetry, my fellow countryman, my fellow Memphian, brother Nick Jones. Nick, how you doing today?
Oh man, it's been a great day. What's going on, Justin?
I see you, man. You got your Kool-Aid smile on, and I'm
trying to look good. It's all about the appeal.
That is true. That is true, sir. So we're going to make sure we put you on the map. You know, we further stress that Memphis is the place for poetry. So
it really is. We have some of the best poets in the world in Memphis.
That is true. That is true. We put every inch of ourselves in the poem, and we're going to make sure that everybody across the globe sees that today. So without further ado, you know, we're just going to vibe. We're going to ask you a few questions, and we're going to let the viewers get to know you. So that's what this whole thing is all about. We're going to get to know you, your life, and your poetry. So getting into the interview questions, I always ask every poet, every artist that comes onto the show.
Yeah.
How did you begin writing?
Well, it actually goes back to before even like elementary school, when I was just started off writing my own short stories, fictional characters. I've always been big on like comic books and anime, so my imagination started to bubble at a young age. It was about 2009 when I wrote my first poem in 2009 about my brother Brandon. It was called A Letter to My Brother, and I just wanted to talk to him. He'd been deceased in 2009 for 7 years, and I just had to get that off my chest. And I saw that it was productive, like it was good, and people related to it. And from then on, I never stopped.
Man, that's I mean, I really hate to hear about the loss of your brother.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But
I wanted him to see me. He didn't see this part of my life, but I'm sure he's watching somewhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, you never know. We have guardian angels, you know, helping us get opportunities. So I mean, definitely. And like I said, you know, I'm sorry to hear about that loss, but you know, I'm glad that it molded you. You chose to deal with that.
That's something everybody goes through a big death. Mine just happened to be my brother, and that's what's so important about poetry is connecting people. Like people that I don't talk about my brother often, but I could write the poem about him.
Yeah. Same thing with my grandfather. That's when I really started writing too. So I can definitely relate to that. And speaking about your poetry, who do you feel were your biggest influences? You know, that kind of shaped and molded your art.
Well, my first inspiration was actually Shakespeare. The fact that he wrote his work hundreds of years ago, and it's still being studied today. So I wanted to have that kind of impact. But I didn't get into performing and everything until I heard one of my favorite rappers is J. Cole. So when I heard J. Cole just rapping about life instead of this negativity, drugs and gangs and guns. I feel like I could do it too. I could really be putting out the content of my life. And so J. Cole and Wale, the two biggest inspirations for me. Because I know that I could spit a poem rather than rap about cars and clothes, something with a real message.
That's good. Yeah, definitely. I've heard Wale, especially J. Cole. You know, I've heard some of his stuff, and
I was on J. Cole years ago, 2011, when he just had it for an album. So it feels good to see someone so conscious like blow up, and Kendrick Lamar too. Kendrick Lamar is a big inspiration.
Definitely. Let me ask you this. Every artist, at least worth they salt, has this moment. When was your aha moment? Like, dang, I could actually do this. Like, people are feeling me. When did you have like that snap moment? Like, you know what? I need to be doing this with my life.
Well, okay, I wanna be arrogant and say just always, because I feel like everyone used to freestyle. Like, freestyle was a thing. You get with your friends and you freestyle, and everyone said I was good. But I had the opportunity in 2013 to perform at Drummer Boys. He's a huge producer. Drummer Boy is a huge producer from Memphis, and he signed me up to spit at his youth summit. He has a youth summit every year. It's a business class, and they present their business model at the summit every year. And he let me go and present my message to the youth. So him co-signing me, and then when I go and I perform, a guy was crying about his dream, and he said my poem touched him. That's when I realized I was like, I can really not just be a big poet, a famous poet, but I could help people with the message.
That's good. So since we got an expert on the show, Drummer Boy done co-sign on you. So
that was big for me because he made a lot of my biggest hits. Like, he's a platinum Grammy award-winning producer from Memphis.
Yeah. So we got an expert on the show, Professor Poetry. Let me ask, for especially because we have some young talent out there that watch our show, that reach out to us. With your wealth of experience, these people that you've come across, what do you feel makes a good poem?
It has to touch a person. I always say when I'm writing a poem and I'm reading it, I'm trying to put myself in the audience member. If it takes me to another place, like I forget where I am, that's a good poem. You shouldn't be listening and like, okay, this is a poem. Let me listen so I can dissect everything. But if it takes you to another place, it takes you inside of the poem, and it changes your perception, or you get to see from another point of view, that's a good poem. Whether it's super lyrical, it has a lot of metaphors, anything. If it takes you somewhere, it feeds your imagination, that's a good poem.
Yeah. That's definitely true. That's even what we say here on the show. Like, if all we do is touch one person, with the video, with the network, then we've done our job. So I mean, that's pretty much art in a nutshell. Is like
it's a poet's job.
Yeah, that's a poet's job. Definitely, you're speaking pure truth is on this network right now, guys.
Yeah, that's the difference between I see in strictly hip hop and rap, and between poetry. They say it's poetry, but it's not always conducive to positivity. Like, you're not helping anybody. It sounds good, it sounds great, but is it an instrument? That's what I try.
Well, let me since we're getting we call this the soul section of our show. I want to get into Nick Jones as the man behind the microphone. So let me ask, what do you feel your mission or your goal is with your art, or even with your life?
Well, with my goal, and it might be cliche, but I want to change the world. I want to be poetry worldwide. I want my message to be heard everywhere, because perception is very important. I feel like every war, any conflict can be solved by sharing up the same perspective, where you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, and that's what poetry is. When you hear me, and when I listen to other poets, I don't listen as me. I listen as them just to understand them. So I want to get the entire world to understand each other through my poetry. That's my ultimate goal.
That's poetry. That's good, man. That's definitely a good goal to have.
I want to see more poets. I think poetry becomes just a label. Like everyone can be a poet. Anyone can be a poet.
Yeah.
I want to see more people writing poetry.
Definitely. I always say, I did a summit and I said I would like to see more pens and less guns.
Really, and it would happen just that quick if people would explore a talent or just find a passion. You wouldn't have time for a gun behavior. And we're from Memphis, so that's
yeah.
That could help out a lot.
We would have a lot of poets running around instead of a lot of other things. Definitely. So I want the audience to have an opportunity to hear some of your poems. Have you prepared something that you can read? We would love to hear that.
Oh, for my worldwide poetry, I do have something I would like to say to the world. I do. I definitely do.
You have the floor.
Okay, so my biggest message is follow your dream. No matter what it is, whatever you're passionate about, that's what you need to chase. No matter what it is. So this is called Dreams. I'm an avid believer in chasing your dreams, no matter how impossible, illogical, or even improbable it seems. As for me and my dream, well, it might be a tad bit cliche, but I want to be in the NBA. I want to become as enormous as Jordan. I looked up to guys like Bird, Penny Hardaway, Magic, basketball giants. Somehow I had to become a hoop tyrant like my favorite player, Kobe Bryant. Even to this day, I get jealous when I see LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant get their rings because, truthfully, I want to be their next king. There was only one problem. I got cut every time I tried out for the team. But please, save your apologies. Do not feel sorry for me. At the time, it didn't bother me in the least. Believe me when I tell you I was a beast. If he was smaller than me, I had a feast. If he was too big, he was too slow. One move, I'd go right past him. Over half of my assists, no-look passes. On defense, it was lockdown. You see, I specialized in protection. On offense, it was knockdown. I had an automatic jumper. Where I'm from, we call that wetness, no matter who was contested. Other than that, my offensive arsenal wasn't that impressive. Rebounds came natural, but I wasn't really aggressive. But my mind was always my most powerful weapon. If we ever went from a zone to a man-to-man and my teammate didn't understand, I had an answer for every question. From the pick and roll to the give and go, I ran my plays with perfection. But on that fateful day, and I could still remember how I used to take a deep breath with my hand outstretched just so I couldn't possibly miss it by mistake. I looked for my name. After several seconds of scanning, I'm overpowered by this pain that can only be overshadowed by my shame because this year was my year to make it, and everyone said the same. Constantly contemplating why I didn't make it. Mentally, I couldn't take it, that them coaches just hating, and I hate them. I should have reached the peak of my greatness as long as I've been waiting. And world, that's when it hit me. All I was doing was waiting and wishing when I could have been watching instructional tapes. I could have been conditioned. I could have been weight lifting. I mean, some of those guys were not better shooters than me or even more attentive defenders than me, but they did things like practice harder. They could run a little bit farther while I made useless excuses like I would have made it if I would have just had a father. But still, I had a quick brain, excellent aim, impenetrable defense. But instead of focusing on your strengths, you have to focus on your weakness. But now I'm past that. I found my true passion. My words come out more rapid. Like, if you tell me to spit it up with it, no hesitation, catch me slacking, can't happen like mass creation. Your arrogance is holding you down like gravitation. If you want to be the best at your craft, then master patience. Your skills aren't weighing enough, then keep waiting, because sometimes rushing is worse than procrastination. But don't get me wrong, I'm not preaching. I'm just saying, if you're not getting better, you're not passionate, you're just playing. So here I am on my newest endeavor. I'm on the road to become the best writer ever, but I had to stop and tell the story of the time where I failed to become better. And hope that you don't forget, if you don't work as hard as you can, every chance you can, your chance at success is slim. And when I'm done, you don't have to snap or clap. Just promise me you won't backtrack or slack. Please, 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 my people, wake up and conquer that dream. Nova.
All right, man.
That's my favorite poem about my dream.
I can tell.
It's important to me. It's important. Like, you have to follow your dream, no matter what.
Definitely, and I could tell that was your favorite poem by how, just how you presented it.
I almost got up, I
was like, whoa! It's like you will not need 3D glasses for this poem, everybody out there. So like he's gonna bring it. Just sit right there. He'll bring it right up there. So definitely, no.
Turn it down a little bit. Turn the brightness down and volume down. But it's listen to it.
No, they need to feel it 100%. So that was a great poem. Really,
I appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get mad love off of that. Just the way we're gonna share it, and I enjoyed it. It reminded me to stay plugged in. Keep pushing. So that definitely touched me.
No waiting and wishing. Like, you have to go get it. You have
definitely. So you touched that one person. So you touched me, and you're also going to touch some other people out there. Hey, we're good.
That's what I'm here for.
Definitely. But let me go ahead and ask. I mean, you've already you've got a beautiful poetic resume. You've demonstrated your talent here on the show. Let me ask. Like, at the end of the day, when you leave this world, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, what I leave behind. I want my son, I want my kids to be able to read my poems and know who I was and know what I stood for. I want them to know that I was about positivity and living life your way. I want the entire world to know that. Like, when they think of Nick Nova, it's a motivation behind it. I want that to be. I want to be an inspiration for generations to come, like Shakespeare, for generations.
Definitely, man. Well, that's a good positive legacy, because
Okay. My arrogant answer is I want to be the best ever, like the best to ever have written anything, books, everything, movies, everything.
Hey, well, no, it's not an arrogant answer. It's just a true answer. Just
my selfish answer.
True today, yeah.
My selfish answer, yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna lie either. I want to be the best in what I do, and I think any artist, any person that is in a particular field, they want to be the best. They want to be the
it's just poetry is so subjective. I don't know if anybody would be able to agree who's the best poet, but I write to make it me.
Yeah, because I mean, somebody could say that Shakespeare is the best poet, or somebody could say
some people hate
you down at the car wash or something.
Yeah, Charles Dickens. Some people hate Charles Dickens, Edgar Allan Poe, everybody.
Yeah,
I think Langston Hughes is a very poet. Maya Angelou, everyone loves them.
Yeah, definitely. She's one of my favorites, and
definitely.
And so Nick, we're kind of winding the show down, but I did want to know, since you're going worldwide, you have the opportunity at this point to talk to the globe, because you never know who this video is gonna touch. So who would you want to work with in the future? So if you could talk to that person who you would want to work with, let them know how you feel. Who would you want to work with in the future?
I want to work with everybody. Like, as far as artists goes, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Erykah Badu. Listen, if I ever did a song with any one of those guys, it would be an epic classic. Epic classic. Lupe Fiasco. I want to do a song with Lupe Fiasco. Then that's my list. That's my list. I'm not gonna add anybody else.
That's your list. Okay. Hey, Erykah, Lupe, Jay.
That's the first one. She's first. Erykah Badu, and me do a poem with Erykah Badu. They'll be amazing. And J. Cole.
Definitely. Hey guys, if you are listening, you got your
They're
news
gonna see
partner
it.
right here. Yeah, you got
They're
your
gonna
news
see it. I
partner right here.
appreciate you.
You
I'm
don't
gonna
have to
give you
look any
credit.
further.
I'm giving you
Yeah.
credit for that one.
Hey, I
Put that together.
appreciate that. Well, I mean, definitely, man. We've had a great time. If you're just tuning in, I don't know where you was at. You might have been catching the game or whatever. You might have just been
Oh
coming
no,
in.
we're having too much fun though. Having a little
Yeah,
bit of
too
too
much
much fun.
fun. But if you just tune in, we're speaking with Memphis now global poet Nick the Nova, representing that M Town, my fellow brother in poetry, my fellow cityman. So I wanna get people connected with you. So I mean, it's one thing to be on the camera, but
Oh
we
yeah.
are voices, people of the people. So do you have any upcoming events? Where can people see you do poetry?
Yes, I have a show coming up on the 21st in Memphis, Tennessee. It's called the Adult Prom. It's gonna be a dope event, and I'm doing poetry. We have entertainment, live band. It's gonna be great. So if you missed your prom or you want to redo your prom, come out. We're dressing up to the T. April 21st. Just search on Facebook, Nick Jones the Nova, and you'll see my flyer on there. That's my
All right.
next up. First.
All right. So definitely check out that flyer so you can get the time, the dress code,
Yeah, everything. Yeah, everything's on.
everything. Everything is going to be on that flyer, guys. So definitely check that out. And now, if people can't make the event, or even if they do want to make plans, how can people connect with you? How, like social media, email? How can they?
It's at Nick Jones the Nova, Nova, and that's on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
So I have all my videos, performances, everything. I have more creative videos coming up soon. So always just click the follow, and you'll see a lot of new creative things coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. We have a lot of things to show you.
Definitely. Well, guys, just once again, we've been talking with Nick the Nova. He has really enlightened us today. Just coming straight out of Memphis. I mean, we are the hometown of hustle, and we just appreciate your time. Making yourself available to the show.
Thank you.
And guys, we're wrapping up the show, so we just want to say, thank you for tuning in. But before we break, we always want, being a part of a Christian network, we always want to say, if you have not given your life over to Christ, we do want to give you that opportunity. And it's just a simple prayer. You don't have to chant or anything like that. You can just say, Lord Jesus, I repent of my sins. Come into my life. I make you my Lord and Savior. Now, after you've said that prayer, just get into a good Bible-believing church. Keep God first place in your life. Keep your mind open, and he'll take care of the rest. But once again, this has been Poetry Worldwide. Do not sleep on this show. Stay woke.
Stay woke.
Stay woke on this show. Stay woke.
Poetry is very important. Poetry is very important.
Definitely. So once again, we are Poetry Worldwide, where we give poets a voice. Are you ready to be heard? Peace out.
Peace out. Poetry